What's up? This is Dan Fredenberg, and today I am talking to Ben Rogers, who is my guy who takes care of mass emailing and all that kind of fun stuff. How are you doing today, Ben?
Good, Dan. How are you? It's
I'm,
been a
I'm
while.
yeah, it has been a while. And before we get too started, so just so that anybody who's watching here knows what we're talking about, we're going to be talking about mass emailing in general. But Ben, right now you're actually in Holland, not just the Netherlands, right? You're actually in Holland, right?
I technically I'm in the Netherlands, actually. I
Okay,
mean, Holland is a province,
right.
so North Holland is where our there's North Holland and South Holland. Our offices were in Amsterdam, so that would be Holland.
Right.
I live in a place called Utrecht, which is not really in Holland technically, but I think
Right.
for anybody outside of the Netherlands, it's everywhere is Holland here.
Right. Yeah. That really is it. Everywhere is Holland in the Netherlands. Yeah, to everybody outside of the Netherlands. Well, at least outside of Europe, anyway. I'd
For
say
sure.
that.
You think even in Europe, Dan? I'm from Ireland originally, and it was all
Right.
new to me when I came over. So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, all right. So, first, I want to bring attention to the fact that you've got a window outside.
I hope
So
it's not too distracting.
no, it's actually perfect because I want to talk about something that, like, we shouldn't be talking about it in the midst of a pandemic, but some people keep on bringing it up, and this shows about attention to detail. So, as you can see now, you, the viewer, in there in the internet, what you're looking at right now is actually impossible because that window has sunlight coming out of it. This window here has sunlight. This location right here is my last apartment in Taiwan, where I am not right now. Okay. So so I took this picture out of my last condo in Taipei, and you can see that was during the day. So normally when I interview people in North America, it's like, okay, sunny day here, sunny day there. Everything's all normal. Even though when I was in Taiwan, there's no way that would happen, right?
No.
But I'm actually in the Americas right now. I'm in Canada right now, so that's my fake background right there. And the reason why I want to bring it up is because of flat earthers,
Are you
right?
a flat earther, Dan?
I don't know how you can live on the opposite side of the planet and work for a company that's on opposite sides of the planet and still be a flat earther.
Yeah,
Because it's
it's
the
crazy.
it really is. It's really the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. It's only like we only had that figured out for thousands of years already, just based on basic geometry. But what can you do? All right, so enough fun stuff. I'll get to more fun stuff later. But so what you guys do, it all relates to SMTP, correct?
Correct. Yes. Just to introduce what we are. We are an SMTP relay. So basically, without going into too many technical terms, we're the postman of emails. We're the postman. Yeah, we take our clients' emails, they give it to us, and we should deliver it to someone's inbox. Where that goes in the inbox, there's a lot of different factors to take into account. We can help as well. So you need a good SMTP, but you also need good content and a good list. Preferably opted in. Well, it needs to be opted in. Double opt-in is even better. And for people, I think you've been in the business before. It takes a long time to build a list like this. And someone told me, Dan, before in this business, a day is a week is a month, and a month is a year, because things change so quickly. It's amazing. It really is. So
Right.
you close down work on Friday, you open up on Monday, and I don't think it ever sleeps. It's one of
Right.
those things that never stops.
Right. So let me take a stab at saying the same thing again from completely non-tech ways. I was
Sure.
just for the audience here, I was the CTO of a real estate investment firm, and that was for like 6 years, 7 years, something like that. And we worked I ended up getting Inbox Road as under the funnel fixing family, funnelfixing.com family. Because it's something that people keep on bugging me about. It's deliverability. Because the numbers are garbage. Even if you know anybody who's in the actual business and is sending out those kinds of emails, like as a reputable sender, you're like, I think any entrepreneur is going to be disappointed by by the deliverability, no matter how good it is. I'm doing air quotes.
Absolutely.
I'm doing air quotes because like every entrepreneur wants it to be near 100%. And if you're like if you only got half of that, you know, like that is just like, wow, you're doing such a great job as far as engaging people. Would you agree with that, or are you comfortable
Yeah,
doing?
no, absolutely. I mean, listen, I like to think, again, I'll keep this all simple because I think, you know, if we go into too much details, it gets very boring for people because it tends to be a boring subject, but it doesn't have to be.
Well,
Look
my
in your
viewers,
inbox now,
right,
you
my
know?
viewers are all about dollars and cents when it comes to stuff like this. So, you know,
Yeah,
if
so
they have to put in the extra effort, they're game for it. So go ahead and bore
absolutely,
us.
absolutely. If you go into your inbox now, anybody that's watching this, you've signed up to probably, you know, loads of newsletters or marketing emails. Sometimes you don't even realize, you know, that you've signed up to them, and they get annoying after a while. If you're, you know, you've probably put emails in the spam box yourself, and you may have opted into that legitimately, and then suddenly you lose interest, and you, for whatever reason, maybe the company sending it didn't put an unsubscribe link clearly, and you just said, you know what, I'm putting it in the spam. That could have been from Coca-Cola. It could have been from TripAdvisor. They like to send a lot of emails. So it doesn't matter if you're a big multinational company or a small one. There's constantly challenges. You know, just because you're a premium brand doesn't mean you necessarily are going to get better engagement than a company that's maybe starting off in the business. You know,
Mhm.
I think who you target is very important, and if they're engaged, they're very. And even if you have a list, you need to constantly nurture the list, because a list that you had a year ago, or it started off a year ago, that person that subscribed a year ago maybe is not interested anymore, but you're still sending them emails possibly. He's put it in the spam box, and you've suddenly lost a bit of deliverability because of it. And there's going to be hundreds of people like this. So yeah, you need to be constantly looking at the numbers. It's a numbers game, I think. And a lot of people don't really know where to start or what to do. I think that's the issue with this
Yeah,
business, you know?
right. There's no transparency. Basically, you have to be in the insider group with the people who are actually, you know, like they can pull off a six-figure
Definitely,
promo in a
for
single
sure.
week. And like getting into those, like getting to, like most of the time, at least. So, you know, I already mentioned real estate. Like basically what happened was I was working for oneshoppingcart.com, which is also web.com. And then I started my own agency. It was called Affordable VAs, but now it's funnelfixing.com. And and because like the way that I was able to make that transition into my agency was because I'd have these seven-figure clients that I'd know because I was helping them at One Shopping Cart. And then what happened was on the down low, secretly, you know, I just like, you know, jot down their contact information or make sure that I knew on their website where to find it. I called them
Yeah,
up and I'd start working for them. So I was able to get into like a lot of the guys, like eventually when I got into real estate, because that's, you know, that's the guys with deeper pockets. A lot of these guys will also have some sort of coaching program. So sitting down with them and getting the truth, it's pretty hard to come by. And
definitely.
and one thing that I'm going after, which we can discuss in greater length after this, it's because of the amount of content I'm putting out. I'm putting out one video per day for 366 days.
Wow,
Yeah, it's just
that's tough
absolutely.
going.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because like, you see most companies, they're struggling to put out 2 pieces of content a week, or sometimes they're struggling to put out 1. And I'm putting out
Yeah.
7, and then I'm doing these interviews. By the way, these are all edited, so if you drop an F-bomb or something, that's totally fine. I can edit it out or beep it. You're not streaming live.
Yeah, in the Netherlands, they don't mind if you swear. So
Yeah. It's a pretty liberal kind of place there. And now that I use the L word for Americans, I'm like, I don't mean what you think I mean. Okay, I just mean it's like, okay, well, they just
oh, you
don't
have to
have.
be careful with those words nowadays, do you? Over there?
Yeah, in America, yeah, definitely, yeah,
Well, you have
definitely,
to. We're seeing our news reports over here, and we think it's a completely different world now.
right.
Sometimes you have to shut it off.
Right, and that's one of the other things I wanted to say and bring up. Since you're in Holland and you're from Ireland, so one of my favorite tricks that I've been able to do during this pandemic is because I do know people all over the world, like have like really good friends. You know, I put a comment out and I know people from let's see here. Yes, all of the continents except Antarctica. They are seeing it. You know, so what I get to do is I get to say, hey, there's no election in your country. So what's the version of the truth that you're being told?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad. But
It really is crazy as well, and you don't know what to believe. We think everything's just burning down in America at the moment. I'm sure it's
mhm.
not the case, of course.
Well,
Um,
in parts, it sure is. You know, it's you know, but that's the
Thankfully,
thing.
it's looking quiet in Canada out the window there, Dan.
Yeah, that's right. It's even quieter out this window because
Yeah.
you don't have the 30-floor buildings,
No,
you know,
no,
popping
no.
up all over the place. But you know, over here, you know, we got different problems, but of course, we're much more socialist here than they are in America. And well, one thing I keep on thinking about, and this is not here nor there, it's the other pattern that never seems to come up is America is like the only country in the world that has completely privatized healthcare with no real substantial component for everybody. So like that, like I think
And
that.
in the Netherlands, Dan, it's the complete opposite, I would say. I'm not a complete native, so excuse maybe if I actually if I get some facts wrong, please excuse.
Sure.
But I know the health system here is fantastic. It's
Hmm.
amazing, and it's a good example for around the world.
Hmm.
I think you pay everyone has to have insurance in some way or form.
Yep.
It's not going to completely break the bank, and then if something goes wrong, you're not going to be left outside if you don't have a credit card or something like that, which is nice.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you have to have a supplemental insurance, and it's not just the state one.
I believe so. Yeah. Well, the state one, it's kind of sometimes they're two in one. I think I believe.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think it's possible to not have one. I think you'll always get looked after in some way, whether you can afford it or you can't. There's supplements or whatnot.
Right. Right. And of course, the primary American complaint about governance in general is how it's so inefficient and ineffective. But what I'm really trying to get at is that I think that big pharma is telling the news guys, it's like, hey, just don't bring that up.
Oh yeah.
Basically, this is the way that I'd explain it to a complete newbie. All right. So let's say you just won the lottery, literally. So you got a
Right.
big stack of money, and you know the secret. Like you know me, I'm in commercial real estate. So for me, it'd be like, okay, well, I want to email all the brokers. I want to email all of these operators, in other words, the companies who operate the apartment complexes, the commercial things. So, you know, like basically they pay the person to sweep the floors and all that kind of stuff. Um, so you want to email, you want to do like somewhere around what we were doing with you guys, which was about 5 million emails a month, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
So
and you're starting from, let's say, hypothetically zero or something at the start, maybe.
yeah,
You're obviously starting from zero at some point, but yeah, there's a couple of things to consider, Dan. I talk to a lot of people in the business. Um, One important thing is to manage expectations starting out. So if you have, you've built up a legitimate list, whatever it may be, if it's small or big, doesn't matter if you have hundreds and thousands of contacts and it's all opted in. You can't start off just sending a million emails or something on day one. That's number one thing to know. You need to scale up from a low volume consistently. And the reason that is because ISPs don't like spikes in volume. So if they see an IP, which is like one of you will get a dedicated IP from Inbox Road, for instance. It doesn't have a reputation at the beginning. So this needs to be built up, and it's built up in something called a warm-up schedule, which we will advise our clients on the best one to use, depending on what you want to reach. You can reach about 1 million in month one with Inbox Road if you have 2 dedicated IPs, and you're going from 400 emails day one, and it's you're increasing slowly every day until you reach that volume of, I think off the top of my head, it's about 100K a day or something like that.
Right, but there is one other thing that is important in that, because if you have, well, I'm going to call it an organic list. I don't care if it's actually paid for in the terms of like pay-per-click advertising, and the people they opt in,
Hmm.
or if it's organic, you know, as an unpaid. But the actual domain of each of the senders matters, and so if you have a random distribution, you know, I think a typical list will probably be about 35% Gmail, maybe
Yeah.
30%, you know, like an MSN well, that wouldn't be that high for MSN, but
It really depends, I think, on the industry, the verticals you're targeting,
right,
and each ISP, which is, you know, Gmail or Yahoo or uh, iCloud or whatever it may be, let's say. I think Verizon is one in the States that a
right.
lot of people target. They all
Comcast,
have different, yeah, Comcast, exactly. They all have different triggers of what they would call, we'll use the magic word of spam. It's something you don't want to be associated with, but even if you're a legitimate company and you, as I said previously, if you just on day one send a million emails,
mhm.
automatically these ISPs are going to, you know, they're going to get triggered, they're not going to like you, and you'll be blacklisted, and that's bad for business, and
Yeah.
you have to start again or potentially find a new SMTP.
Right, and I know, like you already said, that this changes day to day, hour to
Definitely.
hour, all that kind of stuff. So I know
Yeah,
that as soon as you give any like even ballparks, like then you're sure to be wrong after a certain
yeah,
amount of time.
exactly,
But I'm going to do it anyway. So right around now, what basically is the time frame from when you start sending out a gazillion emails and throwing caution to the wind, and when you get shut down? Because I know of one person who did that about 4 months ago.
oh, Dan, it can be quick, it could
Yeah,
be a day, it depends,
yeah,
you know, it can
yeah,
really
yeah.
be,
He
it can be very
was,
quick,
yeah, yeah. He
very
was.
quick.
He was a matter of weeks. I think it was about,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
like 3 weeks.
depends,
I
you
think.
know. Yeah, it's probably going to be a little longer than a day, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, if you go from 0 to 1 million, let's say,
yeah.
you have to consistently build up volume. So, you know, you're reaching, as I said, 1 million or something in a month. Let's
Hmm.
say at the start with 2 dedicated IPs, you've built a foundation now. Your reputation is good, and that gives you a foundation to build your house upon, if you want to call it that, or something when you're
Hmm.
doing when you're sending your mails.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's slow and steady wins the race is a very good saying, I think, for email. And it's something I say to everybody I bring on board at Inbox Road. I wish I could say to you, like, let's pretend you're a potential customer. Hey Dan, tomorrow let's send 50 million. Let's do it. Great. No, it's good. You get to send more emails. We get more revenue because you've sent more emails. But it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And it's not really how we will have a relationship with a customer. We would prefer you to stay on just very low volume for 12 months and you get the results you're looking for, rather than, you know, just send 50 million and hope for the best. It's a long-term game. You're either in it for if you're in it for the short term, I don't think you're in the right business, to be honest.
Right, right.
That's my word of advice anyway.
Right, right. And I was telling you about putting out one video per day for a year, and
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I really wanted to get at with people, that I think goes along completely with your facts about email, which is spray and pray. It doesn't work unless you can actually sustain it. You
yeah,
know,
exactly. Yeah, you're
just
just you're
so spray and pray, just so that anybody
spray and
watching
pray.
knows
I
what I
like
mean.
it.
Yeah, the idea, well, it's a gun reference, obviously, but when in business, when they're talking about spray and pray approaches, it means that you're not really qualifying your leads well enough, and so you're not building the trust. I like, personally, I've been watching these algorithm changes as well, you know, the different Google slaps, and of course, like, Facebook doesn't have as much to do with that with email, but I've been watching what's been going on with those, and I've been trying to think,
Yeah,
it's like, what's in the developer's mind, what's going through their head. Like, I went through electrical engineering, so I'm one of the rare programmers who actually knows how the devices actually work, like how it displays stuff on its screen and all that kind of stuff outside of just the code. And the issue that keeps on crossing my mind is Google and all of the people who are in charge of the architecture. They got to be aware of the fact that they can obliterate any company just by sending a bunch of traffic to it, and that's bad. being
Yeah.
obliterated is generally bad. So I think what they're looking for is this actually a sustainable business where if I do send email, if I do allow your email into my client's inbox, so I'm pretending I'm Google and I own
Yeah.
Gmail, it's a,
Mm-hmm.
if my customers are using the Gmail that they depend on me for, then I'm going to be looking at your emails to see, are you actually a big enough company to help these people? Because if you're just sending out a bunch of email, then and you get the best case scenario, you'd end up going out of business because you get a million bad reviews because nobody
Yeah.
can get a hold of you or anything
Exactly.
like that, right?
Ultimately, you need to, with let's say with email or business or anything, you need to offer value to people, right? And if you're taking the approach where I'm going to just, let's say somebody buys a list, which is a really, it's a gray area, and it's something people I wouldn't recommend do at the moment, because with GDPR in Europe especially, and I know in America you have your,
Can spam,
there's
yeah.
not can spam, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not, it's not quite as strict, but it is still strict. Do these people expect your emails is a big thing, and it's what the ISPs will look for. And if you do somebody happens to get a list where they haven't opted in and they've sent something to someone, they're not engaging, then you need to stop mailing them. Simple as. It doesn't give you anything, and it's certainly going to hurt you in the long run. Moving
Hmm.
forward, I
Hmm.
think. Yeah.
Right.
Uh, does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, it absolutely makes sense, and that's what I really wanted to get at is like to try and give our audience an idea of what's going through the head of these
Yeah.
big email companies. Go ahead.
There's no easy fix, Dan, with these things, and it does take a long time, and it's frustrating for people, but it's the only way to get proper success. If you just build yourself up, try to do it in the right way, and as you said, think about what these ISPs like Gmail and Yahoo are thinking in their algorithms when you're sending these emails. If they've seen you just blast 1 million emails into Gmail, into all their customers, why are they going to let you continue to send to them, especially if it's done in the wrong way?
And especially if they don't open it or anything like that, it's
Yeah,
like who knows what
exactly.
they're asking for. Yeah.
So you need to, it's like a garden, Dan. You need to snip the weeds out now and then, and it's something you just need to keep maintaining.
Right, right. And so you were saying, like bot lists and how they're a gray area and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think it comes down to if you're going to be sharing a list in any form, you have to know that person, and not like the person that you're getting it from. And not only do you have to know them, you also have to know their tech guy. And the reason why I say you have to know your tech guy, the person's tech guy, is because like they're, like if they're not told what to do, they'll just kind of do what they can figure out how to do, right? So
Yeah.
so so
Yeah.
who knows if they're actually using the best practices like you'd expect. Like maybe you'd say that this person is a very careful business person, but if they're not even involved in the decision of how to segment their lists or something like that, if they really don't understand this, or if they're the kind of cowboy and says, just send them all,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like you
I,
got to know where it comes from, no matter what.
Definitely, and you touched on an interesting point there. Actually, um, it can be quite overwhelming, this email marketing in general, especially when it comes to email deliverability. And that's something that I didn't really mention before, that we try to do a little bit differently at Inbox Road, maybe compared to to other SMTPs, where we offer a more personal, service orientated approach. What I mean by that is, and you were a former customer in the past, you would have dealt quite closely with your account manager at the time, and they would have offered you advice. They would have looked at your sending from the outside. And I think it's important for companies that send emails to know if somebody on the outside is looking in at your sending, maybe they notice something that you haven't noticed, or they see a trend. And it's like, it's a silly kind of analogy or whatever you want to call it. If there's a crack in the wall and you see it and you walk by it every day and it's no problem. Then it freezes in the winter, it gets bigger, it gets bigger. You've got a big hole in my nice wall, and now I have to get a builder to come in and fix it.
Mhm.
It's going to cost me money. And it's the same with emailing, if that makes sense. You need to find these problems, before their problems. And that's where you need maybe somebody to help you as well, I think. And whether that's your email deliverability expert at an SMTP company, or it's your deliverability manager at your company, someone needs to be on top of it. It's important, especially if you want to grow.
Right. Let me try and put this together for somebody who knows absolutely nothing about this stuff.
Perfect.
If you have a huge stack of cash, you want to make an enormous scalable business. The first thing you're going to need to have is some sort of list so that you can actually email out anyway. Okay. So there are different ways to collect them. Ben, you mentioned bot lists, which are not so great.
That's not something you should do. I think a good example of somebody starting off is they have a newsletter on their website or something. They have a blog and you've signed up to it. Let's keep it simple like that, because everybody knows what a blog is. They read the news. You put your email in. Now Dan has my email and I'm on his email mailing list. And you continue to grow this, right?
Right, and you end up building that list until about what point before you need to start thinking about SMTP? Like about 1,000, 10,000. What is it?
Yeah, that's a good question, because not to overcomplicate it, there isn't exactly a limit, or there's, because we have customers, let's say, that send transactional emails. They send very low volume. Of course, the people are expecting these emails, so maybe it's a little, I don't know, it's easier maybe than marketing sometimes. I would say you're looking for SMTP anywhere from, maybe if you're sending a volume of 50K per month, maybe even lower is okay. I would say, let's say 30K and above. If you're doing any way lower than that, you're probably better to use an all-in-one solution, like a MailChimp is a good example. Shopping cart, something like that. Yeah, because depends what you want out of it. If you want, I think when you're scaling, you have more to play with an SMTP, let's say.
Yeah, so collection of data should be the priority when you're first starting. And then worry about deliverability when you've got people to deliver it to.
Of course, if you start, exactly. If you if you start thinking too much about deliverability and you don't even have a list built up, then you're kind of wasting your time, to be honest. Not to be harsh, but
Right. Yeah. Okay, so you've got your site, you've got your form, you've got your email list. Okay.
Yeah.
So then the next thing is that you need to get a piece of software to store all that list where you can send out broadcasts. Okay. So a broadcast will just be, here's my entire list. Here's my email. I want to send this email to this entire list. So now that you have that, now you definitely need an SMTP guy for deliverability.
Yeah. You need your postman to deliver that email, right?
Right.
You need to put it in the mailbox, and you need somebody to bring it to your recipients.
Right, and you need to be able to track in as far as the numbers go. It's like, how many emails were delivered? A lot is not a good enough answer.
No, I don't think so. If you ask me tomorrow, hey, how did my emails go? Oh, okay, yeah, there was some delivered. You need to know the exact numbers, right?
Yeah.
Or else you can't fix anything or scale.
Exactly. So that's where you guys come in, is after you have those two steps.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now when I think about deliverability as far as what a marketer goes, for me it basically begins and ends to a large degree with the subject line of the email. Okay, because if the subject line is what's going to make them decide on if they're actually going to click in and open the email or not.
Definitely. That has a big impact for sure. Yeah.
Right. Now, the body of the email, I'm not saying that it's worthless. You're not going to get any sales unless the body is good. But, I'm saying, if you want to drill an idea from, my decade of experience with this stuff and get that one idea, it's like subject line, subject line, subject line, subject line.
Get creative. You need to really think about it. Brainstorm, get together with your team and think of something out of the box. Right. Sounds a bit corny, but it works. And you can see, subscribe to big companies, look at their newsletters. They use really good subject lines now. People get really creative. It's very important. And it's actually something I think people often don't put time into. They think, we've got the list, but we don't think about, something like subject line.
Right. But you could even reuse the body if, the subject line it didn't perform at all. So you just put a new subject line, just tweak the body a little.
Absolutely. Right. You need to be careful, I think, with things in the body, which would be certain words. Now, you can simply Google up words what ISPs don't like.
Yeah,
You
there's
know, if
also,
you're in
was
the
it spamtester.com? I think it's spam-tester.com or
yeah,
something like that.
there's a lot of different there's a lot of different companies you can use. Maybe I can recommend some to you, and you can post it below or something if you want. But 250 OK is another one. Yeah, there's so many different ones that you can look up. If you Google, hundreds probably will come up, and it's just you paste your email into your body of the email into this program. It tells you like if there's certain spam triggering words, if your email is too long.
Mhm.
Some front ends where you make your email will actually have this as a tool built in, which is quite convenient as well.
Right. Yeah. Like OnGage, I think it used that spamtester.com. At
Yeah.
least when you're emailing, obviously I know some of the ways to sanitize a list. I'd rather have you say it because you're the guest.
Yeah, you can use, again, it's different. You mean like different tools you can use or something for sanitizing your list? Is that what
Yeah,
you mean?
well, yeah, like what would it even mean to you if I'm talking about sanitizing, or I guess I'm validating is another word of saying your
Yeah,
list.
there's different different methods. One could be, again, we'll use the blog example. Every time somebody signs up on your website, that you can use, there's tools you can build in. When I type in my website, it will automatically check and validate, see if it's a real email address, and if it is, it's ticked. That's how some people do it.
Mhm.
That's okay at the start, but that doesn't maintain your list. The other way is, you know, you have an Excel sheet of your contacts, and you upload it to some kind of SaaS software. There's many different ones again,
Mhm.
and it will tell you basically if these emails are real. Because if you're a sender in what we would call a hard bounce, that's if you send an email and you spelled the email wrong or something, that could
Yep.
affect your deliverability, and these tools will help that.
So these SaaS services you're talking about, I just mentioned a couple of them in case I edited it out. But for example, you just upload the list and it'll look for, hey, wait a minute, this domain doesn't even exist. Hey, this was
Correct.
obviously fat
Yeah.
fingered, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But as the SMTP guy, I guess you could probably tell me a lot more of how that works. I'm not sure how far on the technical side you are, or if you're more on the marketing side. But from what you guys know from SMTP, like what I can see is I think what they do is they have some sort of mechanism where they can send the headers of an email as a test, and then like Yahoo, Google, all that kind of stuff will say, no, go away, or yes, this is real, but there won't be an actual email sent. Do you think that's how they validate those emails? Do you have any idea?
I think that it depends on the companies. That is how some of them do it. I've spoken to some people, and again, there's so many different versions of it and ways they can do it. Some is where they will have, multiple different email addresses on each ISP, Gmail, Yahoo, or whatever, and like you said, they will send it, and it will bounce back or something, and then they
Right.
can.
So they
It's
use
done
an
automatically,
API.
of course.
Right,
Exactly,
right,
it
right. They
would be
use an
API.
API to check their different. So the company would have like a Google address, a Yahoo address, like an MSN address, whatever, and they say add these email addresses to the list of recipients, and then it uses
Yes,
an
yeah.
API to check those inboxes to see if they arrive, and it shows up inside the application.
Yeah, if
So
we were to use
yeah.
250 OK, which would be a really big name in that part of the email business, I believe that's how they do it. Now, maybe we check it after and we've got that completely wrong, but that's how I believe they did it.
Yeah, they maybe they changed it this week because it doesn't work
That's
anymore. That's the nature of this stuff.
exactly. It does change. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it just makes us look like idiots when it's like, no, it's not like that. It's like moving goalposts on a level that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Imagine the government if it was actually effective. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
Absolutely. I
no,
agree.
that.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. They see you when you're sleeping. They know when you're awake. All that kind of fun stuff. Okay, so those are the main points that I wanted to get across here. So you end up saying, okay, so you end up sending back all of the deliverability stats, different
Yeah.
recommendations, like maybe lay off of this ISP for a week.
Exactly, yeah. Like, let's be really simple. It could be something like that: reduce volume to Gmail by 25%. Yeah, increase volume if you're doing well, if you want. Just actionable advice, really, Dan. Whatever. That's a problem again with this industry, is we've got you know, so we take a different approach, let's say, to the other ones that will have really big dashboards, juicy with all the information, everything under the sun. You're a marketeer, or you're a guy just starting out in the business, and you're looking at this dashboard and you can see every stat you want, but you'll, okay, what do I do now? Oh, my bounce is going up, but I have all these stats and it looks good, but the stats aren't good, and you don't know what to do with it, right? You're a
Yeah.
bit lost.
It's like playing bingo without the card. So it says 51. Is that
Yeah,
good?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. And sometimes you just want somebody to tell you, you know, what to do in a way. Like with
right.
it's something. Sometimes it can be quite a simple thing to improve your deliverability, and you don't know because it's not your specialty. You have other things going on. Maybe you're a small business and it's a small part of what you have to do during the day, and maybe you want somebody just to tell you what to do or how you're getting along or something.
Right.
You don't really want to use these dashboards unless something's going wrong, and when it does go wrong and you look at it and you don't know what to do, maybe you're already too late. So that's
Yeah.
what we do differently, I guess. We would
Right.
send weekly reports to people. You know, if you're sending, you would have seen them in the past. Would have told you, as I said, what to do, as well as our dashboard as well.
Right.
So
Right.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
you can get lost in dashboards, really. That's what
Right.
I think. You just
Oh,
want
yeah, definitely.
results.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And well, that's one of the things that I'm acutely aware of is because like I'm the guy who's paid to look at the complicated dashboards and then divine out what it even means. Like, and so I end up using a bunch of my philosophy and logic skills and saying, okay, well, if they
Yes.
did this, but they didn't do that, then what are some possible reasons for that? Let's take a look at the actual experience that they were going through and saying, okay, what here seems to make me not want to continue.
Yeah.
I keep on using that example for something that people should do when they're doing anything online, which is you need to learn how to kind of just hit the pause button on your own mind for a second and just go through the steps and just like imagine it's all new to you. You've never seen any of it. It's like, you know, like are you sitting there going like, oh, do I click this or do I click that? Or oh, when I do, hey, that something just happened. I don't really understand what that was.
Yeah.
Okay, if that happens, the customer's going to bail. And or the
Absolutely.
lead in that case. So that's the main marketing skill that I think is super duper important is to be able to, you know, just pause yourself and just be somebody else, a hypothetical person to make sure
Definitely.
you
I
can get
think
this
that's what
experience.
people forget a lot of the time. Or when is the last time you got to speak, you know, if you're sending emails, for instance, because obviously we're talking about emails, this could be applied to any company. When's the last time you talked to a dashboard and you could ask the dashboard, hey, what do I do now? Sometimes it's nice to have someone you can call or somebody you can email, and if you don't know that much about it, they maybe can explain, and then suddenly your job becomes a lot easier. It's one less problem you don't have to worry about every day.